Okay, so what do we need to make bread? No, we don't need a Panasonic bread maker. All we need is... we need some flour. I'm mixing white flour and wholemeal flour. We need about a teaspoon of salt. We need about a teaspoon or two of oil. We need some dried yeast. We need about a teaspoon or two of sugar. And we need about 300 ml of lukewarm water. Oh, and a pair of scales to weigh the flour in. That's about the size of it. Right, first job is, it's supposed to be 500 grams. I've got these antique scales here. I'm going to measure in just about 250 grams of each. It's just over half a pound. There we go. It's just over there, yep. And then top it up with the wholemeal. Then dip in the dried yeast. It's dried. Sprinkle it about it. Teaspoon of salt. Oh, I don't know. Why is everything lumpy? It's never like this on the cookery programs. A lump of sugar in it. A little bit of sugar. No, definitely isn't like this on the cookery programs. Before I've added the water, give this mix of flour a good stir up. Oh, that's it. Mixes the yeast and the salt and the sugar in. Oh, forgot to put in splash of oil. What do they say? Teaspoon, tablespoon or something. Splash of oil. You could use olive oil, or you could use all kinds of stuff. You probably use car engine oil. Right, that's just to mix the yeast and the salt and the sugar, and the fact I'm using two different types of flour, I should hopefully get slightly more even when I start manipulating this stuff, or whatever they call it, kneading it. Right, okay, next, pour in the water. Kind of like this. Give it a stir. This is the tricky bit really, because it looks like a mess when you start. It does look a bit of a mess, and you think this is never ever going to turn into a dough. But you kind of give it a bit of this to just to roughly mix it. It does look as though it'll never turn into a dough. See, it's getting there. I don't know if you can see this. Becoming a bit more clagged. After you've got a decent food mixer thing with a dough hook on it, you can save yourself the aggro doing this, because you just tip it all in a bowl and turn on the dough hook and it will just start picking up the rest of this. Well, it's more or less picked up all the kind of loose bits of flour in it, so what I'm going to do now is sprinkle of flour on here and tip the lot out. I'll do it this way, Bob. Sticks like something to a blanket. Scrape all the stuff that's stuck around the side of the bowl. Right. This is the fun bit, right? Okay, here we go, the fun bit. Kind of try and get it into a lump. Push it around like this a bit. I'll gradually pick up these bits. water on here. Oh, this feels quite splodgy and splodgy. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put that extra last bit of water in, but not too bad. Not sticking to my fingers too much. Otherwise, I'd say if it's sticking to your fingers too much, you made it too wet. I just want to try and pick up all these loose bits that are coming out here. And as you can see, I've more or less picked up all the loose bits now, and will, by the time we're finished, it will be. And it's beginning to become a dough. Now, some books say you should do this for 10 minutes. I reckon I need it so fast that 5 or 6, 7 minutes probably good enough. Okay, anyway, I'm going to do this for about 5 or 6 minutes. Like I say, that was 500 grams of flour. That makes kind of medium-sized loaf. Good way of keeping fit. The basic ingredients are just flour, yeast and water. Like I say, with a tiny little bit of salt, tiny little bit of sugar and a little splash of oil. Oh, and yeast, did I say that? 7 grams of fast action dried yeast from Tesco. In little sachets. God, blimey, man. Now, apparently it should start getting quite springy, so when you poke it, it springs out again, which it is doing, and I've only been kneading for about 3 minutes. I'll give it another 3. So that's just about as much as I'm going to do with it. So now I'm going to make it vaguely loaf shaped. Stretch it out a bit. Because I guess it depends on what you consider loaf shape. Some people put this stuff in a tin, but I like to make my bread like bread that's not come out of a tin, like this kind of natural shape. Right, so tray, have a little sprinkle of flour on it, don't know why. That's baking parchment, by the way. As you can see, it's a pretty tatty old bit because I'm so mean I didn't spend the money on another bit. Right, so what I'm going to do now is set this on here like this. You can see the size of it when it goes into the tray. I'm going to sit it on there. You can spray oil on it or brush some oil on, because I'm going to cover it up with an old Tesco bag. But I need some oil on it to stop the bag sticking to the dough. Like I say, I saw on a TV programme you can actually buy oil in a spray, aerosol spray, to give it a little bit of a shoot, and then wrap it in cling film. But being a bit of a tight person, I just cover it with a Tesco bag with some oil on it. So here it goes. Here's my Tesco bag. It's got oil on it, a bit of oil. Cover it up like that and put it next to the radiator to prove, or they call it proving, but you could say to rise for an hour or so. And you'll see when I do uncover this, It'd probably be about twice the size and would have spread out a bit. Anyway, so see you in an hour. Okay, baby. Let's see how much this baby's grown in an hour. Look at that. It's a monster. Look at that. I don't know if you remember, it was about that size. So what do we do now then? Some books seem to say that you should give it a second proving or something, bash it around a bit, but I don't think that's really necessary. I just sprinkle a bit of flour on, like so. Diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly. Sprinkle a bit of flour. Like so. Look at that, that's lovely. I like putting some little cuts across like this. Not too big, as I've discovered. 2 or 3 of those. That might do, I think. And then I'll slip it into the oven. Just in here. Like so. I give it 15 minutes, then I turn it round. Then I give it another 15 minutes, and that's probably just about enough on gas mark 7. Maybe another 5 minutes. So let's see how it's looking when we come back. Set the timer, Bobby. Wow, okay, then here we go. Let's see. See what this is looking like. One of these days I must get myself an oven glove. Ouch. Oh. Oh, look at that then. Can we see that? Lovely, lovely. Right, put it down on here. What you're supposed to do here is tap the bottom and it should make a hollow sound, which it is. Oh, it's pretty hot. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? So I'm just going to put it on a wire tray thing. Let it cool down now. 5 minutes later. See what this looks like, shall we? It's still very warm, and I wish you could smell the lovely smell in my kitchen. So I don't know if you can see the lovely texture of that. Gorgeous. You've got to cut a slice when it's warm. Here we go. Afraid it's not butter, it's flora something buttery. Good enough though. Here we go. Look at this. And like I say, the smell in my kitchen, fresh baked bread, is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is where the Nigella moment. Let me see the Nigella moment. Let's get me in shot here. Yummy. Well, joking aside, I don't think you'd ever taste better bread than that. That was about 15 minutes of mixing the flour and the water and yeast and what have you, and about 35 minutes in the oven, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You can take my word for it, or better still, bake some yourself. That's it. Master baking with Master Baker himself, Captain Bob. Hope you've understood that. Any questions, just let me know.